Good morning, students, and welcome to Lesson 2 Nelson Mandela Long Walk to Freedom from the textbook First Flight. I will be doing this lesson in two parts. The first part I will end on page number 20, the first paragraph, and the second lesson will begin from there. Second part of the lesson will begin from there. Now, this lesson is an inspiring one. It talks about a man with great courage, Nelson Mandela. Let us learn something more about him before we begin the lesson. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela was a South African anti-apartheid revolutionary, a political leader who served as president of South Africa from 1994 to 1999. He was the country's first black head of state and the first elected in a fully representative democratic election. Now, before we read, let us go to apartheid. Apartheid is a political system that separates people according to their race, and this system existed in South Africa. Have you heard of Nelson Mandela and his African National Congress? Nelson Mandela spent a lifetime fighting against apartheid. He had to spend almost 30 years in prison. Finally, democratic elections were held in 1994 and he became the first black president of a new nation. In this extract from his autobiography, Long Walk to Freedom, Mandela speaks about a historic occasion, the inauguration. Can you guess what the occasion might be? Well, it was his swearing in. So here is this news item from the BBC of 10th May 1994. It was a wonderful day. Mandela becomes South Africa's first black president. Nelson Mandela has become South Africa's first black president after more than 3 centuries of white rule. Mr. Mandela's African National Congress, the ANC party, won 252 seats of the 400 in the first democratic elections of South Africa's history. The inauguration ceremony took place in the Union Buildings Amphitheatre in Pretoria today, attended by politicians and dignitaries from more than 140 countries around the world. Never, never again will this beautiful land experience the oppression of one by another, said Nelson Mandela in his address. Jubilant scenes on the streets of Pretoria followed the ceremony with blacks, whites, and coloreds celebrating together. More than 100,000 of South African men, women, and children of all races sang and danced with joy. Just as in India we had a freedom struggle of almost 2 centuries, in South Africa, the black people against whom apartheid was being practiced, they too fought for their freedom, and Nelson Mandela was the face of that struggle fought by the African National Congress. He believed that every person has a right to be free and no one should oppress another person. And for the sake of his convictions, he went to jail for 27 years. And when he was released from prison, he went on to become the first black president of that country. So let us read on ahead and see what happens after Nelson Mandela becomes the president. Now we come to the activity. In column A are some expressions you will find in the text. Make a guess and match each expression with an appropriate meaning from column B. A rainbow gathering of different colors and nations. That is, a beautiful coming together of various peoples like the colors in the rainbow. Number 2, the seat of white supremacy is the seat. The center of racial superiority. Number 3, be overwhelmed with a sense of history is to feel deeply emotional remembering and understanding of all past events that have led up to that moment. Number 4, resilience that defies the imagination is a great ability almost unimaginable to remain unchanged by suffering, not losing hope, goodness, or courage, which was seen in Nelson Mandela's life. A glimmer of humanity, A glimmer of humanity is a sign of human feeling, that is goodness, kindness, pity, justice. Then the last one, a twilight existence, is a half secret life, like a life lived in the fading light between sunset and darkness. And that was what Nelson Mandela had to live in while he was in prison. Now let us begin with the lesson. 10th May dawned bright and clear. For the past few days, I had been pleasantly besieged by dignitaries and world leaders who were coming to pay their respects before the inauguration. The inauguration would be the largest gathering ever of international leaders on South African soil. So, 10th May was a day that a red letter day in South African history. And why was it so important? Because that was the day, after being in prison for so many years, after becoming free, after elections were held, Nelson Mandela was to take the oath as the South African president. So, dawned means it was the beginning of a new day. Pleasantly means giving a sense of happy satisfaction or enjoyment. And besieged is to be surrounded very closely by. Then we go on to the next paragraph. The ceremonies took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheatre formed by the Union buildings in Pretoria. For decades, this had been the seat of white supremacy, and now it was the site of a rainbow gathering of different colors and nations for the installation of South Africa's first democratic non-racial government. On that lovely day, I was accompanied by my daughter Zenani. On the podium, Mr. de Klerk was first sworn in as second deputy president. I will explain up to here and then we'll go on ahead. Since it was the day of the inauguration when Nelson Mandela was to take his oath, so uh, there were dignitaries and there were leaders who had come from almost more than 140 countries to attend this historic occasion. The white government had been replaced by the first black leader in that country. And so they're saying that for so many years, for so many decades, the white people had been ruling South Africa. But now people from all over the world were happy for South Africa, and they were so happy for the blacks who finally gained their freedom. Uh, they gained victory in that struggle against apartheid, and apartheid was finally done away with. So on that lovely day, Nelson Mandela was accompanied by his daughter Zenani. And the first, before Nelson Mandela took his oath on the podium, Mr. de Klerk was sworn in as second deputy president. Here, here is the Here is the picture of Nelson Mandela, and you can see that he is smiling because after so many years of being in prison and sticking to his convictions and ideals, finally that moment came where all his other black brothers and sisters were free and could live a happy life in that country. Thabo Mbeki was sworn in as the first deputy president. When it was my turn, I pledged to obey and uphold the Constitution and to devote myself to the well-being of the Republic and its people. To the assembled guests and the watching world, I said, today, all of us do, by our presence here, confer glory and hope to newborn liberty. Out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster that lasted too long, must be born a society by which all humanity will be proud. So, after Mr. de Klerk was sworn in as second deputy president, then Thabo Mbeki was sworn in as the first deputy president. Sworn in is he like took an oath and became the first deputy president. That is, he was second in command to the president, none other than Nelson Mandela himself. So when it was Mr. Mandela's turn, he took the oath and he committed himself to obey and uphold the Constitution of South Africa and to devote himself to the well-being of that country. And then he finally gives the speech. He says that today we give glory, that is honor, okay, and hope to newborn liberty, because up to that day in South Africa there was no freedom for the black people. But with Nelson Mandela becoming the president, they were assured that they would be free. There would be no oppression of the blacks by the whites. And so he says, out of that experience of that extraordinary human disaster, which lasted for such a very long time, he says there must be born a society where all human beings could be proud. Then let us read on further. We who were outlaws not so long ago have today been given the rare privilege to be host to the nations of the world on our own soil. We thank we thank all of our distinguished international guests for having come to take possession with the white people of our country of what is, after all, a common victory for justice, for peace, and for human dignity. So, here, as we can see, who were the outlaws? The African people were outlaws because of the policy of apartheid. Many countries had earlier broken ties off with South Africa. But today, Nelson Mandela thanked all the guests who had come to South Africa to witness this historic occasion of the black people winning a victory over the whites, of the black people winning a victory and gaining all their God given rights. And so he thanks them for coming here. He says that this victory is not just for the blacks, but it is a victory, a common victory for justice, for peace, and for human dignity. The meaning of possession is ownership. And so he says, on our own soil means in our own country. So Mr. Mandela continues with his speech. He says, we have at last achieved our political emancipation. The meaning of emancipation is freedom, freedom from all restrictions that the whites had laid on the blacks. We pledge, that means we take a vow ourselves. To liberate is to free all our people from the continuing bondage of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender, and other discrimination. So, Mr. Mandela took an oath to free all the people of South Africa from that bondage, from those chains of poverty, is of the state of being very, very poor. Deprivation was a state of not getting one's benefits or rights, and suffering of gender, that means discrimination between men and women, and so on. And so he says, never, never, and never again shall it be said that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. Let freedom reign. God bless Africa. So this is at the end of his speech. He says that this is a glorious beginning, and he says that this freedom would never end, and this country, South Africa, would never experience the domination of one race by another race. He said that the sun will never set on such a glorious human achievement. So all that he wishes is that freedom will continue, and he asks God's blessing upon Africa. Then, as we continue further, a few moments later, we all lifted our eyes in awe as a spectacular array of South African jets, helicopters, and troop carriers roared in perfect formation over the Union buildings. It was not only a display of pinpoint precision and military force, but a demonstration of the military's loyalty to democracy, to a new government that had been freely and fairly elected. Only moments before, the highest generals of the South African Defence Force and police, their chests bedecked with ribbons and medals from days gone by, saluted me and pledged their loyalty. I was not unmindful of the fact that not so many years before they would not have saluted but arrested me. Finally, a chevron of Impala jets left a smoke trail of the black, red, green, blue, and gold of the new South African flag. Now, here is a description of what happened after the oath taking. As they were all standing there in that amphitheater, they lifted their eyes and they were like they were incredible. The sight before them was incredible. There were South African jets displaying with military precision. That means with pinpoint precision they were doing maneuvers in the sky. All the helicopters and the troop carriers rode in perfect formations over the government buildings. And not only that, there was a demonstration of the military's loyalty to the democracy, to the new government. And only moments before, the highest ranking generals of the defense force, with their uniform and ribbons and medals of all the days gone by, they saluted Nelson Mandela. Mr. Mandela at that moment remembered and thought that today here they are saluting me, but in a few decades earlier they were the same people to have arrested him. After that, there was a chevron, that is a pattern in the shape of a V of jet planes, that and the smoke trail of black, red, blue, and gold. These were the colors of the new South African flag. So Mr. Mandela was very conscious of how things had changed. Earlier, he was a prisoner, and today, here, he was going to be the head of a newly elected democratic government. So, for him, it was a very memorable occasion indeed. The day was symbolized for me by the playing of our two national anthems and the vision of whites singing Nkosi Sikelel I Africa and the blacks singing Thy Stem, the old anthem of the Republic. Although that day neither group knew the lyrics of the anthem they once despised, they would soon know the words by heart. So here, as we can see, that the day of the day was very symbolic for Nelson Mandela, and they played two national anthems there, and the whites sang the old national anthem Kosi Sikelel I Africa, and the blacks singing Thy Stem, and neither of them knew the lyrics of the anthem, but they were soon to learn them by heart. On that very day of the inauguration, I was overwhelmed by with a sense of history. In the first decade of the 20th century, a few years after the bitter Anglo-Boer War, and before my own birth, the white-skinned peoples of South Africa patched up their differences and erected a system of racial domination against the dark-skinned people of their own land. The structure they created formed the basis of one of the harshest, most inhumane societies the world has ever known. Now, in the last decade of the 20th century and my own eighth decade as a man. So here Nelson Mandela was very overwhelmed. That means he was overcome by, a strong emotional effect. He remembers all the years of his life, that he, from the day that he was born, what all he had experienced in that country, and how he had been imprisoned, how he had fought such a long struggle, and at the beginning when the white people had come to Africa, how they had ruled over South Africa, and in the course of that many years, they had become very, very cruel, very inhumane. They had no compassion on the black people. They treated them like animals, and they were the cause of the suffering, the misery, and they were extremely cruel. So now that he has finally become the president, these were the thoughts that were going through his mind. That system had been overturned forever and replaced by one that recognized the rights and freedoms of all people, regardless of the color of their skin. So Nelson Mandela thinks that yes, that struggle was well worth it. The time that he had spent in prison fighting for the rights, for the freedom, for the liberty of his brothers and sisters, of all the black people in South Africa, that was worth it. And he said that that injustice, that oppression, that cruelty was replaced by one that recognized the right, the freedom of all people, no matter what, whether they were blacks or whites or brown people, all the people were at that moment free. That day had come about through the unimaginable sacrifices of thousands of my people, people whose suffering and courage can never be counted or repaid. I felt that day, as I have on so many other days, that I was simply the sum of all those African patriots who had gone before me, That long and noble line ended and now began again with me. I was pained that I was not able to thank them and that they were not able to see what their sacrifices had wrought. So here at towards the end, when Nelson Mandela remembers his past, he remembers how the whites had come to power and how the African National Congress had such a bitter struggle against the whites, but he stuck fast to his convictions, and then he realizes that he's just the sum total of all the, people. He doesn't feel that he was the only one to have contributed so much. He just feels that he is just a part of all the wonderful people who had the courage to give up their lives to fight for freedom. And then he feels very sad that and pained that he is unable to thank, because so many of them have died and they are no longer there. They have become martyrs and they are not able to see what what was the fruit of their hard struggles. So these were the thoughts in mind as we come to the end of part 1. So for today, we will do up to this portion wrought. Now I will go back to the questions and we will discuss the questions in detail, and you can start writing them in your fair book. So the first question that we will look at is, where did the ceremonies Where did the ceremonies take place? Can you name any public buildings in India that are made of sandstone? The ceremonies took place in South Africa in the lovely sandstone amphitheatre formed by the Union Buildings in Pretoria, that was the capital. Some buildings in India that are made of sandstone are the Red Fort, the Qutub Minar, Humayun's tomb, the Secretariat building, etc. Then, the next question, can you say how 10th May is an autumn day in South Africa? Now, children, what you have to remember is that we are in the northern hemisphere. And when we have, in May, we have summer, right? So whatever season is there in the northern hemisphere, we will have the exact opposite in the southern hemisphere. Since South Africa is at the end, so it is the southern hemisphere and the seasons are as follows. For them, in December, they have summer, and in June they have winter. So since in June they have winter, it is in May it is autumn, that is the season between summer and winter. At the beginning of his speech, Mandela mentions an extraordinary human disaster. What does he mean by this? And what is the glorious human achievement he speaks of at the end? This extraordinary human disaster that he talks about was the policy of apartheid. That was, the original inhabitants of South Africa were victims of racial discrimination at the hands of the white people. Since they were blacks, the whites thought that they were just like animals, and they did not give them respect. They thought that it they like you know it was they would not even consider talking to them. They thought it was below their dignity to even address these people or mix with them or allow them to go to schools and colleges, and so they treated them worse than animals. And at the end, he speaks about what is the glorious human achievement that he talks about. He talks about South African people are now free and they will never again be oppressed by others. They had gained their freedom for their country after a very long period of time. What does Mandela thank the international leaders for? Mr. Mandela thanks the international leaders for coming to attend the inauguration ceremony of the new democratic non-racial government. And he thanks them for supporting them in or helping them to fight apartheid and for being with them in the celebration of their freedom by helping them take ownership of their country. He felt that all of them were enjoying a common victory for justice, peace, and human dignity. Then, what ideals does he set out for the future of South Africa? Nelson Mandela became the president and he set out the ideals for the nation. They were liberating people from the bondage of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender, and other discrimination. Also, never again would they allow their land to experience the oppression of one race by another. Then let us see a few more questions ahead. What do the military generals do, and how has their attitude changed and why? On that day of the inauguration of the new democratic government, the government generals of the defense forces had their chests all covered with ribbons and medals of the past, and they saluted Mr. Mandela and pledged their loyalty to him. These were the same military generals who, before some years, during the apartheid regime, reign, who would not have saluted him but have arrested him. The loyalty of them was with the government in power. Why were the two national anthems sung? The newly democratic government wanted to show equality to the black and the white people, so that the two national anthems were sung. The black sang Dai Stem and the white sang Nkosi Sikelel I Africa. That day, neither of them knew the lyrics of the anthem that they once hated, but soon they would learn the words. So, thank you, children, for listening. I hope you have understood up to this paragraph, and we will continue with this lesson in the second part of the chapter. Thank you and have a nice day.